Then we got Eala taking on Fernandez. Winner of that match will take on either a qualifier or the number 5 seed Paolini in the second round. Then you got Świątek, the number 3 seed, gets a bye in the first round. Eala's trying to get clay court wins, and Fernandez trying to get some confidence back. I'm going to go with Eala in a close 3 sets. I reckon the Fernandez experience is going to shine through, but Eala's just so confident right now.
Right now, Leylah Fernandez is staring down what could be her absolute worst possible first-round nightmare. And that nightmare has a name: Alex Eala. Let that sink in for a second. Fernandez, a player still trying to steady her game, still searching for rhythm and confidence, has been handed one of the most in-form and fearless players on tour at the worst possible moment. Leylah Fernandez, a player who has been struggling to find her footing. A player searching desperately for consistency. A player who needs a confidence-boosting result more than anything right now. And the draw hands her Alex Eala in the very first round of the Stuttgart Open 2026. Of all the players she could have drawn, of all the names that could have come out of that bracket, it had to be this one. It had to be the one player on tour right now who is playing with that red-hot, unshakable, ice-cold confidence that makes her dangerous for absolutely anyone she faces. There is no gentle introduction here for Fernandez. There is no warm-up match. There is no easing back into competitive tennis. It is Eala in round 1. And if Fernandez is not already feeling the pressure of that, she absolutely should be. Because let us be very clear about what Alex Eala has been doing this season. This is not hype. This is not projection. This is not a narrative built around potential and promise. This is results. This is hard evidence. Eala has been stepping onto tennis courts and beating players that the world believed she had no business beating. She walked out against Coco Gauff, one of the most talented, most celebrated, most dangerous young players on the entire WTA Tour, and she handled the moment. She found a way through. She came out on the other side with a victory that sent genuine shockwaves across the tennis world. That is not a small thing. That is not something you brush aside. Beating Coco Gauff is a result that demands attention and respect. And Eala delivered it with the kind of composure that made people sit up and take notice in a serious way. And then, as if that statement win was not enough, she went out and defeated Jasmine Paolini as well. 2 massive, significant, season-defining victories that have sent a message to every player in every draw she enters. Do not sleep on Alex Eala, because she will make you pay for it. The confidence that comes from wins like those is not something that disappears overnight. It builds, it compounds, it follows you into every match, every court, every surface. And that is exactly what Leylah Fernandez is walking into in Stuttgart. Now the clay season has arrived, and if anyone was quietly hoping that the transition to a slower surface might take the edge off Eala momentum, that perhaps the change in conditions would force her to reset, to find her rhythm again, to lose even a fraction of the sharpness she carried through the hard court season, those hopes have already been shut down. Because Eala showed up at the Linz Open and made a statement on clay that nobody in the WTA world could ignore. She stepped out against Julia Grabber, the local favorite, the crowd's darling, the player that the home fans were absolutely counting on to deliver something special. But Eala had absolutely no interest in playing the role of the quiet visitor who fades under pressure. She came to Linz with a clear plan. She knew exactly what she wanted to do from the very first point. She executed that plan with precision and conviction. And even when Grabher pushed back, even when the local hero dug deep and tried to drag the match into a scrappy, emotional battle that the crowd was desperately willing her into, Eala stayed completely on course, calm, commanding, and fully in control. From the very first game, it was clear that Eala was not there to ease herself in. She took the early lead, set the tone immediately, and even when Grabher leveled things up and pushed it to 3-all, Eala made a decision in that exact moment. She was going to take control of the match. She was going to push through Grabher's resistance and make it absolutely clear who the better player was on that day. And that is exactly what she did. She took that first set 6-4. A statement set. A set won through quality, grit, and the kind of mental clarity that separates good players from great ones. The second set followed a similar pattern, just with even more authority. Eala came out fast, won 3 games in quick succession, and immediately put Grabher on the back foot. And even when Grabher tried to fight her way back into the set, even when it briefly looked like she might force her way back into the match, Eala shut the door hard. She was not giving her an inch. She raised her level exactly when it was needed and closed out the second set 6-3. Dominant, convincing, decisive. Yes, Eala did not go on to win the tournament in Linz, but here is the detail that every single Leylah Fernandez supporter needs to pay very close attention to. There was not a single moment in that match where Eala looked uncomfortable on clay. Not one. She moved beautifully. She constructed points intelligently. She handled the slower conditions with ease that tells you her game translates perfectly to this surface. The clay season had barely begun, and already she was looking like one of the most dangerous players in any draw she enters. She arrived on clay this season looking like someone who belongs there, someone who is only going to get sharper and more precise with every match she plays on it. And Stuttgart is next. That is the player Leylah Fernandez has to walk out and face in the first round. Now, let us talk about what makes this matchup so uncomfortable for Fernandez, because the contrast in momentum between these two players right now could not be more dramatic. On one side, you have Eala riding a wave of confidence that has been building all season long. She knows she can beat top players. She has already proven it against Gauff. She has already proven it against Paolini. When she walks out onto that court in Stuttgart, she will not be carrying doubt. She will not be questioning whether she belongs at this level. She already has that answer, and she is bringing that belief into every match she plays. Fernandez, meanwhile, is trying to rebuild confidence. She is trying to find wins. And now she has to do it against a player who is playing with nothing to lose and everything to prove. That kind of confidence is almost impossible to manufacture. You cannot fake it. You cannot talk yourself into it in the locker room. It comes from results, from performances, from winning the biggest points in the biggest moments. Eala has all of that right now, and she has it in abundance. And here is what makes her even more dangerous in a first-round situation. She does not ease into tournaments. She does not take time to find her level. She arrives already locked in, already operating at full intensity, already making life difficult from the very first point. Grabher experienced that in Linz, and Fernandez is about to experience it in Stuttgart. The bottom line is this. Leylah Fernandez needed a kind draw in Stuttgart. She needed a match that would allow her to build rhythm, to find confidence, to remind herself and the rest of the tour what she is capable of when everything clicks. Instead, the draw has handed her Alex Eala, a player who has beaten Gauff and Paolini in the same season. A player who just stepped onto clay and looked completely at home. A player carrying the form, belief, and momentum of someone who is not done making statements this season. The pressure in this first-round match sits almost entirely on Fernandez's shoulders. Eala has nothing to fear here. She has everything to gain. And Fernandez has to find a way to stop a player who right now looks almost unstoppable. The Stuttgart Open first round just got a whole lot more interesting, and if you are a Leylah Fernandez fan, it just got a whole lot more nerve-wracking. Do not miss this one. But before we wrap things up, we want to hear from you. Do you think Leylah Fernandez has what it takes to dig deep and pull off a massive upset against Eala? Or is she walking into a nightmare she cannot escape? Does Fernandez's clay experience give her any real edge? Or has Eala already shown that this surface is no problem for her? And if Eala gets through this, how far do you see her going in Stuttgart? Drop your thoughts in the comments below. We read every single one. Let us know where you stand.